Hi, welcome to Miniezshops How to Sculpt videos with myself, Elizabeth, and today in this memes, puns, and social icon series, we'll be making this classic little goose. You can make it into anything you would like. I've got a bunch of videos on how to turn them into pins, charms, etc. I'd love to see what you guys make. Feel free to send a photo or what suggestions you would like me to make a tutorial of. But let's get sculpting. So to begin, you'll need a work mat to protect your tabletop. You'll need some clay, just kind of some scrap clay, some white clay, some orange clay, and some black clay, and some gray clay and brown clay. This is to make sure you get all the little hairs off of your hands so that you can work with the white clay without getting the hairs on it. You also need a potter's needle, a little silicone dowel tool, a little bald end tool, and you can use a pen tip or a pencil tip for these, an X-Acto knife, or just any sort of cutting tool, and let's get started. Take this scrap clay and work it in your hands and roll it around a little bit so it gets most of the fuzzies and that sort of thing off of your hand. All right, take your white clay and warm it up so it doesn't crack in the oven. We'll take about as much as we want the size of our little goose to be. And roll it into a ball. You can roll it into a ball between your fingers or on your palms or on your work surface. All right, once it's a nice smooth ball, then we'll just kind of either, if it's going to be a pin, we'll kind of press it, or if it's going to be a charm or something 3D, we'll roll it back and forth. And then we'll start to pinch one end, pinch and roll to make the little tail. And then once we have that, we'll kind of tap this back end and tap right here so that this is where the foot will go, and this is where the other foot will go. So we'll take this portion and pinch it, since that will be where the head is going to go, and we'll just pinch and roll back and forth. And this can be fairly skinny because the goose's neck is very slender. And then we'll take a tiny bit of white clay, roll it into a ball, and this will be the head. We'll set that on our goose, see if we like the size. If it looks like it'll be a little too small, we can take it off and add a little more clay. Or we can take white clay if it looks like it'll be too big. And then take your silicone dowel tool, or your pen tip or anything like that, and smooth those edges. Smooth all the way around, and then you can smooth the rest of it with your fingers, as there will be little ridges from that tool. You want to make sure that it's more of an oblong head shape than a circular head shape. Once you have that, you can take your orange clay, warm it up as well, and take about 1/8 as much as you took for the head portion, roll that into a ball, and then test the size to see if it'll be a good size. I think I need just a smidge more clay, so I'll add a smidge more. Test the size, that's going to be good. So I will take that orange clay and roll it back and forth between my fingers, making a little triangle shape, and then set it right here so it looks like it's a continued line for that head. Then just kind of press it in to connect it. All right, and then I like to take this little ball end tool to make an indent here, like that on one side, and then to make sure they're kind of even, I look from the top, and then we'll take our orange clay again, about as much as we took for the little beak, and then split it into two. This doesn't have to be exactly even, but we'll roll those into balls, and then we will roll them slightly back and forth until they're little legs looking like things, and then tap the edges. We'll set one about where this tail looks like it starts, and then the other one right here, and then kind of have it match the angle of the neck so it looks like it's running. And to tap it in without smushing it in, you can kind of tap with this part of your finger rather than this part of your finger. Kind of start to bend that clay where you think the foot will go. Then we'll take our knife and we'll just cut those off. Unless you have a lot of extra clay, then you can just fold them over. But if you don't have enough clay, we'll make the feet separately. Take about as much clay as you took for one of the legs, and then we will split that into two. Roll those into balls, flatten them, and then make your fingers into that triangle shape again, and tap it into a triangle shape. Like this, and then we will set those on the feet. Once you have those on there, and they're about the size you would like, take your silicone dowel tool again to smooth those edges together. Tap them with your fingers. Okay, once you have that though, you can take a little tool and just make a little indent 2 little indents on the feet. We're almost to the end. We'll take a tiny bit of black clay, about this much. We'll take our little tool and split it into 2. Size those up together. We'll roll them into balls between the tips of our fingers here. And then we'll set that into the indent that we made earlier. And then if it's a good size, you can tap it in, like so. Next, we'll take the tiniest bit of brown clay, maybe about 4 times though, as we took for the eyes. Roll it into a ball. Roll that side to side till it's a little oval, and then we'll tap it. And then I like to add this little tiny touch of just a small piece of brown clay. Set right here to be the junction of the handle and the metal. All right, we'll take about the same amount of gray clay, roll it into a ball, roll it back and forth, flatten it, and then for this one we'll set it on the top of our finger and kind of tap so that it's rounded, like so. Attach the handle like this. And if one is too big or too small, as always, take away or add clay. Hold it against your little goose. And what I like to do is to just insert a little cut right here to give it a little bit of traction. And just ever so slightly press, slightly smush. Not entirely smushed, but slightly smushed. And then you can bake it. And there you have your little goose. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below. Have a great day. Bye.